Hi, I'm Vince Faust with Good Day, Good Health, and I'm outside of St. Christopher Hospital in Philadelphia, and I'm going to talk with an artist that's community involved, and he's putting up a mural about suicide.
Hey,
James.
Vince.
I took a look at that mural. It looks like it's going to be a great mural, as always.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
But this one has some type of special meaning to it.
Yeah.
And it's the second in the series. So tell me a little bit about it and why you did this.
So in 2011, 2012, I signed on to do a project that addressed suicide, and it was an amazing experience, challenging, probably the most challenging project I've taken on, and in terms of like the emotional power of it. And when I found out that it was going to be built in front of, I think there was a conversation about how do we take this thing that we're losing and move forward in a way that honors the work that we did together with the community. Because it wasn't just me working as an independent artist or anything like that. It was like we had an army of survivors,
I know.
right? You know, I started to learn about the support groups that exist around suicide loss and around mental health challenges. And, I reconnected with a lot of those folks, and we had a discussion about, what do we do now? And we showed up at an RCO meeting, and they heard what we had to say, and the developers who were building in front of the previous mural were willing to give us the seed money to do a new project.
Fantastic. Suicide, most people don't realize that suicide is a really big health issue.
Yeah.
I mean, while we were sitting here getting ready for this, it's been about an hour. Every 11 minutes, somebody commits suicide. I mean, not attempt, we're talking about actually dies from suicide. And it's the number 2 cause of death for people 10 to 34.
I mean,
number 2.
Numbers are it's staggering. And I think, I think most folks, and I think that's part of the reason why we're doing this project, is because I think a lot of the work that I see happening, it feels sometimes like it's preaching to the choir, right? Like you're talking to people who've lost someone, right? But I think when you can reach a larger audience and create a situation that there's more of an understanding about the seriousness around mental health and the community of care that is available to you if you are struggling. And I think that's a big part of what the first project and this project have been about. And for me, it's interesting to see when we did the first project, socially, the landscape has changed a little bit for the better, right? And that's a wonderful thing to witness and be a part of for me as like an individual person who found a community in the first project and then saw the world like through a different lens over the last 10 years and then entered back into the work again. But there's still so much work to do, and there's still people struggling, and I think we went from a project that was kind of tucked away in Center City to the front of a major hospital in the city. So like, it's wonderful that we have St. Christopher's as a partner, and they recognize it for young people, right?
Right, like I said, from 10 years old, can you imagine someone 10 years old trying to take their life? I mean, there are warning signs for all of these things, and some of us probably don't know them, but that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's a very young age. And we're doing this in Philadelphia. Now, Philadelphia has the highest depression rate.
That's scary. Yeah.
That's scary, and that's one of the contributing factors to people, committing suicide. So, when you do a project like that, and the city actually gets behind you, I think we need that.
Yeah.
We definitely need that.
Yeah, it feels like I think everybody that's been involved with this project has really brought a particular kind of energy to it. We did the writing workshops, and people showed up for that. People who had lost someone, people who were struggling with their own challenges, with ideation. And I think, we did that same sort of roadmap on the first project. And people don't show up for it. It just, I don't know, it feels like maybe like you're wasting your time, but I think people genuinely care and want to see change in their own lives. They want to see change in the world around them. I mean, I think about some of the moms that I worked with in this project, and you know, there's like a mission kind of vibe to the whole effort with this. You know, make it known, you know, that it's real.
Well, you know, I always looked at art as a therapy. I mean, I know people look at it as beauty, aesthetics, and things like that, but it's actually therapy. When you get involved in a project like this, you're actually giving those people that are affected by the project, you're giving them hope.
Yeah.
And art gets you a chance to like breathe.
Yeah.
And I enjoy that about the Mural Arts program, because you come into a community and you give them a chance to just relax and breathe. Take the day inside of a different direction, giving them something meaningful in their life.
Yeah. Well, I think with this one, I mean, you've been to paint days with me, like you know what that scene is,
yeah.
right? And it's a very communal space and supportive, and I think one of the things that really made me want to do this project again was the experience with the paint days on this specific project, around suicide, around loss, and the community that showed up to do the painting, right? Like the stigma that exists around suicide just felt like it faded away, and the support that I felt in on those days, it was just really special. You know, I had one woman who she wasn't really into the painting, but she just wanted to be around that experience and see other people who and be with other families that have gone through what she went through. And it kind of, you know, I think back to like my mom talking with me about losing her father to suicide, right? And how she looked at it. And this is a really good example of how things have changed, I think. But like when she was young, talking to me about it, talking about as like a selfish act, like that's how it was originally portrayed to me.
Yeah.
And my mom was young when it happened, so like we've talked about it since and kind of come to a different understanding. And that's like really evident of the stigma that exists around it. So like the shame is being counteracted by the community who's getting involved and speaking out and making it known that like, you know, we are here and there is help available. It's still hard.
Yeah.
It's still like a hard thing to navigate, right? But there's people who are willing to help, and I think that part is important.
I think we definitely, because of a project like this, we're beginning to take a look at suicide, looking at it different. Like you mentioned, it's a selfish act. No, that's an act of desperation.
Yeah.
That's an act of reaching out. A lot of times people attempt suicide, but they don't. It's not that they really want to. They want attention, and they're crying out for this attention. Mm-hmm. And when they succeed, it wasn't a cowardly act. It wasn't any of those things. It was a mental health issue.
Right.
And from what I understand, reading all the information, it's preventable.
It is. And Jonathan Singer, you know Dr. Singer? Mm-hmm. He was he taught at Temple. He's like the leader in suicidology. He's in Chicago now. I was looking at something he posted on Instagram the other day about the importance about talking to young people and like when you should, like what age you should start. But him and Terry Erbacher, another doctor who's involved with the first project, they kind of, after helping out moving the first iteration of this forward, they wrote a book about how to talk to young people in schools, and they did a like collaborative thing, which was amazing. But like he talks a lot with me about like the idea of like crisis is temporary, right? And that's one of the things that like, you get beyond that crisis moment, you're going to survive, you're going to live a life, right? But crisis happens, and it's like, how do you navigate that? How do you get beyond that? And I think that, you're talking about depression and crisis kind of go hand in hand.